reef knot is probably the first knot that most of us were taught to do, and usually with the standard instructions, right over left and under, left over right and under, producing a knot that looks like that. It's for tying together two ropes of equal diameter, and it has its uses, mainly for sort of tying or binding parcels and such like. On a boat it's probably most useful when you've been reefing a sail, hence the name, because the knot is nice and flat. Another name for it is the flat knot, also the square knot, but yes, it's flat, and that means it doesn't form a nasty lump which can then sort of wear through the sail locally where it's tied over. Let's look at it in a bit more detail. At the left of the screen there's a reef knot that I tied earlier so that we know what it's supposed to look like and we know what we're aiming for. We take our two pieces of rope, and remember that old mantra, right over left and under, left over right and under. This is how it goes. The right hand rope is the yellow one, it's in my right hand. We cross it over the white one and tuck it underneath. That's right over left and under. Now you'll see the yellow rope is in my left hand. Left over right and under, we take the yellow rope, the one in my left hand, pass it over the white rope and tuck it under. Pull it up tight, and that's our reef knot. So left over right and under, right over left and under. You have to be careful though, this isn't a knot that you use for tying two pieces of rope together if they're going to be under load. The sheet bend is better for that, and the problem is that it's fairly easy for the knot to capsize, and when it does you're just left with a cow hitch and a straight piece of rope, and it will fall off just like that. So now let's see what happens if we get it wrong. We start, as with the reef knot, right over left and under, but now I'm going to make a deliberate mistake and go right over left and under again. And you'll see as I pull it up, we've got something that looks very different from our reef knot. This is a knot that is called the granny, and it is generally considered a bad thing. Immediately recognisable because the two ends stick out at right angles rather than neatly lying alongside the rope as with the proper reef knot. The other thing is that the granny knot is a big lumpy knot rather than being flat like the reef knot. So if it's used for tying a parcel or for reefing a sail, you get some nasty hard bits that might rub on the sailcloth and eventually wear the sail through. So that's really not a good thing to do. So remember the rule is right over left and under, left over right and under. The reef knot shouldn't be tied between ropes of obviously different diameter, such as these two, because quite often the thicker rope is also stiffer than the thin one, and it therefore doesn't bend so well, and it's possible that either the thin one will slip through, as happened in that case, or it might capsize the knot. And once you get to that position, you can have a straight rope with a cow hitch which just slides off. Now almost any knot can be turned into a slip knot and made easy to untie if the final turn is done using a folded over end of the rope rather than a plain end. And the reef knot is no exception. So this is a reef knot tied as a slip knot. We can undo it simply by pulling at this end and letting the loop pull through. Now there's a variation on that we probably all know. If we tie both ends as a slip knot, we get that, which you may recognise as the knot that we tie in our shoelaces. And you'll see that the two loops fall nicely left and right. If we get this one wrong and turn it into a granny, this is what happens. And that is why Sometimes if we tie our shoelaces wrong, we get the loops running up and down. So remember, with shoelaces, as with other aspects of the reef knot, it's right over left and under, left over right and under.